You don't have to paint miniatures to enjoy miniature gaming.
Foul demon! Heresy grows from idleness.
It's not like Games Workshop is gonna show up, kick down your door and say like, hey you, put 2 colors on that miniature, you're gone, you can't game anymore. What's up, Mini Turtle Gang? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Mike.
And I'm Kim.
We watch Tabletop Turtle. And this is part 2 of our series, My Journey into Miniature Gaming.
My journey into miniature gaming that I did not sign up for.
What we're gonna do today, it's gonna be the 10 reasons why I hate miniature gaming.
It's not only that I hate miniature gaming, it's 10 reasons why I...
It's the fears and the hesitancy you have. Yeah, and hopefully you can relate to some of these fears. Fears that you might actually still have now if you're a veteran war gamer, or if you're entirely new, these are fears that you might have too. This is the part in the hero's journey where it's the refusal to the call of adventure. The refusal of the call is a pivotal step in the hero's journey, one in which the titular character expresses a lingering doubt in her own abilities, and a general fear of the unknown, and... Okay. Do you know that part in Lord of the Rings when Frodo tries to give the ring back to Gandalf and he's like, I'm just a little hobbit, I don't know what I'm doing. And then Gandalf's all like, don't tempt me, Frodo. It's just that, it's that part.
He's supposed to encourage me,
heck yeah,
the hero, and inspire me, like inspire confidence to go on this journey.
And then give you confidence. You at home, Turtle Gang.
So first up on the list, and it's in no particular order, these are just things that came to me. It's something I experienced when watching you play or when looking up YouTube videos, you know.
Envy?
No.
Jealousy?
It's all the jargon. There's so many acronyms and words that you use that I have no idea what you're saying.
Yeah, I guess that could be a huge barrier to entry because if you're new and you decide like, oh, I'm gonna Google miniature gaming, let's see what I can find. And then you see a bunch of YouTubers playing a game and saying things like LOS and scale and proxy and base and all these terms that we as miniature gamers are so, standardized to. We understand them. So I think what we'll do is that if you're teaching somebody who's entirely new, you have to sort of step outside of your bubble and realize that these terms are not inviting to new players. So I think what we'll do in this series is we'll be as jargon-free as we can. And that's hard for me too, because I'm used to all these terms,
Or whenever you do, use an acronym or something, we'll just, show it on screen or we'll just say,
it'll be like a brief little explanation.
Yeah, exactly. And up next, similar to jargon, it's the learning curve. There's so much more stuff to miniature games than there are to board games. And I'm sorry I was comparing this to board games, but it's my closest frame of reference. The learning curve is so huge, I'm just overwhelmed.
There are certain games, like I play Infinity, and if anybody watching has played Infinity, you know that the rule book is like 160 pages or something. Like, it's massive.
It's a very long rule book.
It's massive.
It's not a novel, it's a rule book.
Yeah, okay, but that's the dragon. We're not out here slaying dragons in this series yet. We're the level 1 adventurer going through the sewers and killing rats. You gotta start small.
Why are you so cruel to rats?
You gotta get that XP, yo. That stands for experience points. No jargon.
Okay, up next. So whenever I've seen you play miniature games, it's actually the one that first got me interested in miniature gaming. You always whip out these huge terrain boards. The ones you have are always so gorgeous and they have this beautiful landscape, and he's got like mountain snow ones, he's got city ones, and they're so cute.
I'm an
artist. Pretty. And like I asked him, like, oh, you just acquire these over time. He's like, I made these. I don't have the artistic skill, the time, the patience to kind of put snow on fig trees, to make little streets, to print out little signs for the city. No. I want to just buy this package, easy to unfold and just lay it out there. I don't want to have these huge, ginormous boards that fit in like only in our garage.
There's a hobby within a hobby here, and that hobby is that the artistic side, that building your own terrain. You don't even have to do that. You can just buy pre-built terrain.
I don't want to do that.
If storage is an issue, you can buy terrain that's just cardstock and it just assembles and you can disassemble it. Or some of them I think are
like
foldable.
Little, like puzzles. Like whip out like a card, like birthday card.
Almost, yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, you don't have to put as much effort into miniature gaming as I do. That being said, we'll 100% have a video of you building terrain. I'll teach you how to build a piece of terrain. It'll be something simple. And you can build a lot. It'll be sick. Yeah, but it'll be easy. It'll be easy. It won't be like, oh, you have to put together this little medieval cottage and glue 1,000 shingles. I've done that. It's awful.
You see what I have to do.
That's later. That'll be later part of the series.
One shingle at a time. Don't you want to do this?
You want realism?
Up next, very similarly, miniatures. oh my god, you have so many miniatures. And when you show them to me, it's like, oh, they look so well done. And he's like, yeah, I painted these. All of these. I've seen him paint these, and it'll be like a week for just a tiny little one single miniature. And for one game, you have so many. And I'm just like, I'm not interested in spending the rest of my life painting miniatures every day.
No.
Just for one game.
Okay, again, and I think this relates to terrain perfectly because it is about that hobby within a hobby. You don't have to paint miniatures to enjoy miniature gaming. It's not like Games Workshop is going to show up, kick down your door and say like, hey, you, put 2 colors on that miniature. You're gone. You can't game anymore. So you don't have to paint miniatures, but we will definitely have a video of you painting miniatures.
I see.
Yeah, I like teaching miniature painting. I teach in a few local shops here. Don't worry, it'll be super easy. I'm very beginner friendly. I'm very beginner friendly.
I don't like those glasses though. They're stupid.
No, you have to wear the glasses. They're like jeweler's glasses that help you see things. Oh, they're a godsend. And they look so cool. Like I wear them around town usually. I like to go shopping with them. And people are always really impressed.
And I say, I don't know this creature. Everything seems to be about war. Everything seems to be about war. I mean, again, a big part of it is because Warhammer is kind of like the big, famous one. Exactly.
At last, back to war.
The way I think about it, in trying to introduce your friends into board games, because you know they're into like bird watching, you can like pull out Wingspan and it's like, this here relates to your interest.
We need a Wingspan miniature game.
But that's what I mean. Like, I feel like there's no real genres in miniature games. It's just all war.
They don't necessarily have to be a war. The miniature games that I play are all skirmish games, and skirmish games are just like miniature conflicts that are more scenario based. So you know you're going into infinity and you're going to go hack the enemy's computer terminal and then maybe assassinate their VIP. You're not necessarily like
that's not cool.
Yeah,
some kind of like storyline like that, and it's not just war.
I hate when a miniature game is just I'm Army A, you're Army B. Let's clash on this barren field in battle. It's boring.
Yeah, it's just like there's no story. There's no story.
Yeah, there's no narrative
part to it.
Yeah, or Gaslands is just a race. So there's conflict. Yeah, that's the car one. Gaslands is just a race. Yeah, you blow up the other people's cars, but at its heart, it's a race. You know, Aristeia, Guild Ball, these are sports games. You know, you score points for doing particular things. Yeah, there's conflict. It's not a war.
So the thing I love about board games is like the theme. I mean, there's a game for everyone. When it just like kind of like introduce yourself into it. 15-minute board game, no problem. If you're really into it, 2-4-hour board game, no problem. With miniature games, I've only ever seen you play for like 6 hours.
It's not 6 hours. That's hyperbole.
It feels like 6 hours.
It's not 6 hours. This is stretching it. But not all miniature games have a longer duration. There's a lot of shorter miniature games. Arena Rex plays in under an hour. It's like this sort of indie gladiator game where you're fighting in the Coliseum. Some of the games from Games Workshop plays in under an hour. I think Warcry and Underworlds play very short. The Aristeia plays really short. So there are games that you can bust out when some friends come over, and you can be done with it in an hour and a half.
Actually, this leads perfectly to my next point, which is player count. I've only ever seen you play 2-player games, and I've only ever seen like people on YouTube, like Warhammer specifically, like 2 players. And the thing I love about board games again is, you know, if you have 3 friends over, 5 friends over,
you could accommodate.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of miniature games out there that play more than just 2 players. Gaslands, I've mentioned Gaslands a bunch of times. Mm-hmm. Gaslands, it's literally a party game. Like you invite some friends over. Yeah, you invite some friends over and you just race little cars around and shoot at each other. And there's other games too.
Miniature party game.
It's the best kind of party game. It's the only kind of party. It's the only party I'm interested in. Country Road Z, super indie game, and it's fully cooperative. You gang up with some friends and you kill zombies. I think the Bolt Action series, you know, if you're more interested in sort of traditional historical miniature gaming, that plays more than 2 players.
Miniature game? What is
like World War II. It doesn't have to just be 1v1, you know, me versus you.
Huh.
Well, we should do a playthrough. We should play through like Gaslands or something, invite a bunch of people over. And
host the first miniature party game in all of history. Miniature games feel like it has to be a right place, right time kind of thing. Like I rate this on like a whip out ability. Whip out ability?
What does it mean? It
means like if like you have friends over and like let's say you're going out for something later, or like, you know, like your plan was to like watch a basketball game, but it starts like in an hour and you're like, what do I do to kill an hour? You can like whip out a board game. You can't whip out a miniature game. It has to be like you're coming over to play miniature games. This is a long
Like an
game.
event.
And it's like exactly, it's not just an event. It's specifically for miniature game.
Okay. Well, we covered this briefly. It was that the idea of a starter set. The idea, you can whip out Marvel Crisis Protocol. Everything you need is just in that box. It's just a box. It's got 2 teams. It's got some terrain in there. It's got all the rules, the measuring stuff. Like the rules are really simple, so you can just kind of teach people on the fly.
Really?
Yeah. I think Atomic Games also makes Shatterpoint. I haven't played it yet. I don't own anything, but I think it's pretty similar. Just everything you need, one box.
I mean, if it does come in a box, it's not crazy. And if you think it's something you can teach on the fly, that makes it a lot easier to whip out.
Here, stop saying whip out. Whip out has some connotations, I think.
What about a board game? That's what I think.
All right.
What do you think of Gandalf?
Nothing. Gandalf would never whip anything out except magic and
Miniature games.
joy and miniature games.
How do you find people to play miniature games? How do you convince someone like, oh, let's learn this 4-hour game? I promise you it's not hard.
Well, that's kind of what this series is for.
It's a 160-page rule book for.
That's what this series is for.
How do you find these people?
How do you find these people?
I can't just be like, hey, subscribers,
you can play
hey,
with friends and family. You really can. You have to realize that the person you're talking to, your friend, your partner, whoever, may not be interested. Maybe you play Warhammer. They may not be interested in having giant armies. I wasn't. I had friends that were into that, and I couldn't get into that. It wasn't until I discovered that skirmish games existed that I was able to get into miniature gaming. If my friends at the time had introduced me to skirmish games and said, hey, this exists, try this, then maybe they could have built me up to Warhammer if that's the direction we were heading. If you can't just convince a friend, if that's just not possible.
My friends are not.
Yeah, sure. There's just some people that's just not going to be interested, and that's okay. You can't hard sell it. There are communities out there. You can join them on Facebook or whatever. I think there's some on Reddit where they're just local communities that are within your city. They play all the time, and they're super welcoming. They're always welcoming. I joined one here in our city for Infinity at the start, and they taught me the game. They didn't care that I knew nothing. But yeah, there's lots of opportunities to go out there and play.
And last but not least, the size and cost of everything. Please ignore the fact.
That's one we can relate to. That's one everyone can relate to.
Please ignore the fact that we have so many board games and spend so much money on that. But with miniature games, on his Christmas wish list, he'll include miniatures on there. And I'll go and try to find them, and they're like $30-60 a piece. How much money am I supposed to be throwing into this? And this is miniatures, not even the board, not even the game stuff.
Not all miniature gaming is like Warhammer, where you would hear people. I remember going to conventions and asking people how much does this all cost, and they were in the thousands when I was talking to them, because they had some of these miniatures that I don't know if they're called dreadnoughts. You can tell me in the comments, or Titans or something. They're like this big. I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend that kind of money. But we don't have that kind of money. We don't have that kind of money. So many games out now are so beginner friendly. They didn't used to be 5-10 years ago, but now they are. Now they've realized that okay, you release a little starter box. It's everything you need. This is your army, so to speak. This is all you need. And then anything else you want to buy beyond that, you can test the waters a bit. Okay, so after those 10 reasons, a lot of the reasons I empathize with, and then I had myself. How do you feel? How do you feel now? I'm still a little overwhelmed. I still feel like this is a big jump, and even though you're like, oh, small little steps, I'm like, this is still a very big step. It's a cool adventure. Like one small step for mankind, very big step for Kim. But I am excited. I kind of like the idea of starting with a little box set, or starting with a party. I think that should be the next step in the series, and we'll try to find the right game for you. Maybe I'll pitch you a bunch of different games, and you could sort of I'll be pick that one or this one. I would love to choose what game to start with. Or we'll leave it up to the viewer. I don't know. I know we can get them to vote on it too. But they'll just say Warhammer. You'll just say Warhammer. You'll just say Warhammer.
Fear not, brothers. Cleanse, purge, kill.
So hopefully that relays some of your fear and calms you as well. A lot of the people viewing this right now are probably not new to miniature gaming. But if you are new to miniature gaming, hopefully, you found some reasons that you don't have to be afraid. You come along this journey with me. Yeah. Ride along with me. Yeah, so I hope this was all helpful. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, do the YouTube junk. Thumbs. Give us these. And we'll see you in the next one. Heck yeah. Bye. Bye, guys. Who says bye? With his tail. With his tail. Bye.